Welcome to another edition of INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm Alex Jones. Today's date is Monday, May 14th, 2012.
Tonight, sources inside Bilderberg reveal the cabal's secret plans. Further revelations about the Bilderberg's 2012 agenda soon to follow. Then, Dianne Feinstein wants more sexual molestation at America's airports, and she's criticizing Americans for complaining about the TSA grope downs and the hands down our pants. Meanwhile, a popular UK comedy show plays a clip from the INFOWARS Nightly News, where Alex Jones talks about the TSA grope down psyop, and David Hasselhoff proclaims his love for airport security. That video clip plus more of our top stories and an update from Dan Fight, all coming up next on the INFOWARS Nightly News.
First up tonight, we've got some really good news here with INFOWARS Nightly News, teleprompter free, globalist influence free as well. We're influenced by our desire for liberty and still more of it. Sources inside Bilderberg spill cabal's secret plans. In fact, I've learned some of their agenda items, and I'm going to be releasing those soon. I have two different sources, one of them inside the Bilderberg group, another separate, not a Bilderberg member, but someone within Bilderberg. I'll just leave it at that. And they confirmed to me what the other source had told me, that it is the Palm Tree Conference. Never before have we learned the code name weeks out of the conference. Normally, we don't even learn the code name during the conference that's to be held in 2012, May 31st through June 4th in Chantilly, Virginia at the Marriott Center there, the same place they were 4 years ago. If you want to read the article, it's at Infowars.com. Very exciting information, and good to know that there are people everywhere who love liberty. You see, we see something, we say something. And people within the system realize these are eugenicist criminals who openly want to establish world government, bankrupt the nation states, so the nation states have to accept a program of eugenics. And for those that don't know what eugenics is, it's hell on earth. Look it up. So this is the enemy of humanity, and people are finding that out. So many times Jim Tucker talks about he'll check in a few days before they shut the hotel down if he learns where they're having it beforehand. And sometimes he doesn't learn until it's already started. This is rare to learn weeks and weeks before. And he goes in and talks to bartenders, talks to waitresses, talks to hotel staff, and they say, no, I'll be fired if I talk about Bilderberg. How dare you ask me? And they try to throw him out. But once they're treated like absolute filth, you know, he tells them, well, next week when they get here, I'll be across the street at that hotel. You'll want to come talk to me. And when they show up and say, do not look at Hillary Clinton in the eyes, when they tell them you're filth, you're trash, when they hear them as they're serving them coffee, talk about bankrupting their nations, it doesn't matter if they're meeting in France or Canada or the U.S., the UK or Germany. People are people, and they get angry and spill their guts, and that's happening more and more. Just like we had witnesses to the underwear bomber being a staged operation. And it turned out they were giving us accurate info, Kurt Haskell and his wife. This is happening over and over again. We have our people everywhere. And coming up tonight, I'm going to talk about some of the bad experiences I had at the Padre Island National Seashore on the Texas coast that's now a federal zone. But the good news is in the middle of this police state, the park rangers, when we drove in, said they were listeners. People driving down the beach were stopping and were listeners, and the people parked on both sides of us were listeners. Again, that's just a gauge of liberty and how many people are awake. I'm a public figure. I know I make this point a lot because it's so important. You aren't a public figure, so you think you're all alone. You are not alone. People recognize what's happening. And I noticed it was regular park rangers that were listeners. It was the cops that were harassing everybody because that's how they've been trained. We've got to be there to point out this is all part of this nanny state hysteria. So that is coming up. Speaking of the nanny state, this is something we've talked about a lot with our financial experts the last 4 years or so that there's a plan to implode the euro and bring it into the New World Order. This is a designed implosion to bankrupt the countries and then finally bankrupt the euro into an even greater tyranny as part of a global regionalized system. Here it is. Euro officials begin to weigh Greek exit as euro weakens. Greece's possible exit from the euro moved to the center of Europe's financial crisis debate, rattling markets as authorities, not servants, in Athens struggle to form a government. You mean the bankers that installed their people over the Greeks? 90+% of the debt not owed by them. Their last criminal president and finance minister signed them on to the foreign banker debt that was created, the derivatives. This is all Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. They're the ones running the eugenics. They're the ones calling for world government. They're the ones federalizing your police. They're the enemy. They're the money changers. So now what we talked about is openly being discussed, but they're acting like it's an accident. This was pre-planned. Continuing here, JP Morgan, $2 billion loss, just a preview of coming derivatives collapse. That's out of the Economic Collapse blog, also posted at INFOWARS.com. And again, all the financial experts we've had on say it's over 1,500 trillion, 1,500 trillion, 1.5 quadrillion, and that's grown the last 2 years because they've been leveraging bailouts into that, so it's probably over 2 quadrillion. Many experts we talked to, like Dr. Tarpley, say it is physically impossible to pay this back, and it's not our debt. The bankers created the problem and then poses as the solution, signing us on to their debt. This is just the beginning. This is just a very small preview of what is going to happen when we see the collapse of the worldwide derivatives market. And the very criminals that did it are going to pose as the savior and tell us they've got to raise our taxes to pay them more money to back up their fraud. And they think they control the media and the police forces and the military. They're going to get away with this. No, they're not, because I've been there, Ron Paul's been there, and you've been there, spreading the word and exposing these people. I'm on the front line walking point here. They may take me out. They may set us up for a crooked toenail, but they can never shut you up, and don't ever let them shut you up. They are scared of you taking action with banner hangs and calling in to talk radio and going to city council and running for office and putting out local newsletters, just getting aggressive and getting in the face of tyranny and letting everybody know that freedom is popular and that we're the majority and we are aware of the tyrants. Here's another one. JP Morgan units, London staff may go as loss prompts exits. Now let's shift gears to a real witch. Feinstein says because of the double agent, that leaked out, and they said, oh yeah, CIA didn't stage the bombing, the latest underwear threat that never happened. No, we had a double agent in, thank God, just like the government got Muttalib on the aircraft two Christmases ago. Feinstein, who wants to take your guns but has bodyguards. Feinstein, who loves destroying California to consolidate power, passing carbon taxes there to make it uncompetitive. Feinstein just needs to go to hell. I mean, I am so sick of this witch squatting on top of our country and crapping all over us. And excuse me, it's the only way to describe her. She told Fox News, we have the video clip here in the article, that get ready for more aggressive molestation. They're going to take you in the back rooms and strip search you like they've been doing old ladies. They're going to drag your kids away from you as they cry. And if you get uppity, they're going to have the cops beat your brains in like they did Kelly Thomas. So just get used to it, because she runs America and she says so, and because she's keeping us safe from the CIA staged bombings. What a criminal over the coup d'etat in this country. She is just a arch piece of trash and needs to get the you-know-what out of my country. I am so sick of Dianne Feinstein and all the rest of the globalist crap. Her works are bad enough. I shouldn't call her names. I'm just so sick of these people. Look, I can't travel because of her. The feds are out of control. The TSA is now on the streets. They're molesting children. I want it to stop. I want justice. I'm sick of bad people like her winning and twisting my country and strangling the liberty out of this country, suffocating our republic. I'm tired of it. Let's go to a clip of her acting like they're protecting us and saying the public doesn't like it, but the TSA needs to continue what they're doing and get ready for it to intensify. Here is the un-American piece of trash, Feinstein.
That's one of the reasons why Abdul Muttalib wore it in his underwear, so that he couldn't be patted down sufficiently to detect it. And that's a problem. And that's something that TSA has to grapple with. And the American public has not been terribly sympathetic, although most people are. Most travelers say, I'm going to go with the flow. I recognize the need. Therefore, I really don't mind being patted down.
Maybe I should have teleprompters in here, because I just tell you what I really think. Maybe I could load them with info I write. It's just that woman and all of her ilk. They are such predators posing as liberals. They're not misguided. These are authoritarian pigs destroying our country, okay? They're the enemy of this country, and they pose as our saviors, and I'm tired of it. Now let's go to David Hasselhoff, who is a funny guy. I like him. My kids like him in the movie Hop. But, I mean, talk about a mindless response. It's almost like that Britney Spears clip. We'll play a clip of that right now, where she says, I just think we should do whatever our president says. That's what it is to be American. We just shut up and do whatever the president says when he wears his codpiece landing on the deck of an aircraft carrier, as Bush had just done when giving up our liberties. Here's that clip.
Honestly, I think we should just trust our president in every decision that he makes, and we should just support that, you know, and be faithful in what happens.
Do you trust this president?
Yes, I do.
All right, so you saw Britney Dingbat Spears. I feel sorry for the Hoff. They ask him, hey, do you mind the TSA groping you? Oh, I don't mind as long as they don't ask for autographs. So all he cares about is not having to sit there and sign autographs. Okay? And you know, he doesn't mind if little kids are being groped. He doesn't mind if all this is happening. He just wants to go along with it and enjoy himself and be a vapid, shallow person like Britney Spears. I mean, if the Hoff speared Spears, we would end up really having a jellyfish creature that would put up with any level of tyranny. So I hope people contact Hasselhoff and get some sense into him. He was on